morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Wednesday, September 21st, 2016. I am Dave Biddle, very happy to be joined by the legend himself, Steve Helwagen. Steve, our Brandon Castell posted a hilarious column to the front row message board yesterday. It was written by former Ohio State basketball walk-on Mark Titus, but I wouldn't have seen this if it wasn't for Brandon posting this to the front row message board. Mark Titus now works for Bill Simmons' website, The Ringer. I mean, for anyone who has not read this, I mean, just do a Google search for, Mark Titus, Urban Meyer, The Ringer, and it'll come up. Or just go on the front row message board. But it was all about, Steve, the fact that he says he trusts Urban Meyer more than anybody else in his life. And he was kind of being funny, but he was also being truthful. Here's the quote. I trust Meyer more than I trust anyone else in my life. I go into every Ohio State game knowing that one of two things will happen. We will win, which obviously is great, or we will lose, and Meyer will find a way to get us back in a national title hunt by the end of the season anyway. So, and then he goes on to say, until another team is hoisting the national championship trophy, I will always think Ohio State has a shot at it, because that is what having Meyer as your coach means. I mean, truer words have never been spoken. It's just, I think we take it for granted almost at this point. This guy has just elevated the program to levels that I really never thought was possible.
Oh, I agree. And, I mean, you look at what they accomplished over the weekend. I can only find one home game in the Bob Stoops era where they lost by a larger margin than they did. And it was when Baylor was really good a couple of years ago, and they went in there and hung like 50 points on them. So, that's it. I mean, that's the most lopsided loss, and really the most lopsided non-conference loss in the Stoops era. Only the third time he's lost a home non-conference game. Now, granted, back in the day, before Texas and them were, in the same league, it was a non-conference game, and it was always played in Dallas. But I mean, come on, they're making history here with every passing day. And where there was doubt whether there was going to be talent in this program after so many guys left, I think they pretty much debunked that. I mean, this secondary is as good as it was last year, based off what we've seen so far. You want to see more consistency perhaps out of the offense and J.T. Barrett, but he played really well, made some great throws to Noah Brown. Noah Brown's coming on. It just seems like any obstacle you put in front of Urban Meyer, he is going to find a way to go around it, over it, through it, whatever he has to do. And on the other side, it's going to be a positive result. 95% of the time. I mean, he's 53-4 now in 5 seasons at Ohio State, and there is no end to this in sight, it seems right now.
Yeah, Titus calls it a machine, and that's exactly what it is, this well-oiled machine that Urban Meyer has built. And I remember thinking during the Jim Tressel era, and I've shared this story before, I remember thinking, Buckeye fans better enjoy this. It's not going to get better than this when Tressel leaves. There's going to be a drop-off whoever the next, long-term head coach is. Or it could go the other way, and it could get even better, which is exactly what's happened with Urban Meyer. But I remember thinking, enjoy the Tressel era while it lasts. It's never going to be better than this. Well, I was wrong. It is better, and I love Jim Tressel to this day, but Urban Meyer has elevated it even further, and it's just, so soak it up, Buckeye fans. I think I'm right this time when I say it's not going to get better than this, so just soak up the Urban Meyer era. All right, switching gears here. Good news yesterday in the Urban Meyer teleconference, the Big Ten teleconference. Gareon Conley, he mentioned after the game Urban Meyer did it. He thought it was just a stinger and Conley would be fine, and he confirmed that yesterday, so that was great news. He said he should be good to go for their game next week. They said they were going to hold him out of contact drills at practice yesterday, Steve, as you know, but great news, because I know they feel good about the depth there at corner. Marshawn Lattimore stepping up and playing great. They like Denzel Ward. Damon Arnett, they really like him. I know he gave up the one touchdown, but overall they like Damon Arnett, and he's really stepping up. But still, man, there's no way to sugarcoat it. If they would have lost a guy that's going to be a first-round draft pick at corner, that would have been a huge loss for this defense. So it's just, and to me, Steve, it looked like a serious injury when it happened. So I'm just, it's just a huge sigh of relief that Gareon Conley's okay.
Yep, I agree. I think that Conley is a guy that obviously they've built the defense around at one of the cornerback spots. They survived the game without him, and that was good. I think it came out after the game that Coach was very happy with the play of Denzel Ward and Damon Arnett on the whole. I mean, you do mention, he gave up a touchdown, whatever, but I think that, with Lattimore on the one side, I saw a stat that they have intercepted more passes, 3, than they have receptions allowed, Lattimore and Conley, so which is just two passes is what those two guys have allowed in 3 games. So it's pretty crazy, but I think that Conley, I think with rest he'll be fine. The stinger is something that obviously takes just a few days probably to get the nerves and everything back where it needs to be and not tingling and all that, and not a structural thing, it doesn't seem like. So I'm sure they probably did an MRI or some type of an examination just to find out what was up, but looks like he's going to be okay and back in there in time for the Rutgers game.
Hey, we haven't seen a lot of junior safety Erick Smith yet, but when he does get in there, he looks really good. And Urban Meyer, unprompted, brought up the fact that he thought Erick Smith has been playing well. My question for you, sir, by the end of the year, if both players are healthy, who will be the starting safety between Damon Webb or Erick Smith?
Man, you're asking tough questions. You know, I'm not Greg Schiano, so I can't say, but my guess is whoever has the best week in practice is going to get the most reps in each week, and they'll go from there. You know Malik Hooker is going to be playing because he's just been nothing short of sensational so far. But I would say, and Hooker had a critical sack coming on a safety blitz, obviously, in that game at Oklahoma. As far as the other position, I thought Smith played really well against Tulsa. I am not sure. I honestly, I have to go back and watch the game and see who did what against Oklahoma, but it seems to me like they are both outstanding players, no question about it. And, you know, neither one of them has a ton of experience on defense, but I think with each passing game, they're going to get better and better. And by the end of the season, when they have to be where they need to be, I don't have any doubt that Greg Schiano will have one or both those guys playing at close to an all Big Ten level. I mean, that's just that, you know, if they started an all Big Ten team, I'd say right now about 10 of the guys on the first team would have to be OSU guys, and Hooker certainly at the top of the list with the way he's played. But Ohio State's been pretty dominant so far.
Yeah, I think Hooker's the best player on the defense, and I think the world of Raekwon McMillan. I think he's going to be a first-round draft pick at linebacker, probably going to win the Bucknuts Award. But Malik Hooker, to me, he is phenomenal. There's no weakness in his game. He's a ball hawk. He'll come up and strike you. He's a sure tackler. He's extremely athletic. I mean, this guy is he's amazing to me. And then I'll answer the question I asked you. I think it's going to be Erick Smith by the end of the year. We'll see, though. Damon Webb had a couple good plays against Oklahoma. He also had a couple bad plays. I think Erick Smith is going to be the guy by the end of the year. All right, another hard question for you here. You don't want me to lob softballs at you, Steve. You want the tough questions. So one more tough question for you.
I hope it's one
by the end of the year, or even after the bye week, we'll say. Just who do you think is going to eventually be the starting defensive tackle between Dre'Mont Jones and Robert Landers? Because right now Dre'Mont Jones has the starting job, but in my opinion, Robert Landers is playing better. Landers or Jones? Who you got?
Robert B.B. Landers. I'll go with him just because he's making plays. I was kind of surprised that Jones started the last game, to be honest with you, given the fact that Landers has made so many plays against Tulsa that it was like, you know, he should be out there. But, you know, again, that's Larry Johnson's province, and I'm sure he's looking at it like we're going to go through practice each week, and the guys who perform the best in practice are going to play, and that's the carrot he's dangling in front of those young guys every day in practice to get them to bring the effort. And, you know, it's going to be a grind. If they go to the Big Ten championship game, they are about to embark on 10 games in 10 weeks. And it's going to get rough, and it's going to get tough. And at the end, you know, it's backloaded. It's Michigan State, it's Michigan, and then perhaps a rematch with Wisconsin or Nebraska, or a new matchup with Iowa, whatever it may be. At the end, it isn't going to be easy, and I don't think that anybody in their right mind can sit here and just assume they're going to win the next 10 games. I mean, there are no absolutes in college football. I mean, Alabama could have easily lost the game they played last week just as sure as they won it. So, and there's the supposed number one team. And, you know, Louisville, for as great as they're playing, you know, they still got to play Clemson. They still got to play Houston. So something's going to have to give with all this. And I think the same is true with Ohio State, Michigan State. It looks good as of today, but let's get into it a little further before we make any major proclamations. And one last thing I'll throw in there. Today is the 20th anniversary of Ohio State, 72-0 rout of Pittsburgh. I will have a story on that game on the site, and God bless you, Mark May. This one is for you.
After you write that story, I'm not only going to post it on Twitter, I'm going to tag Mark May when I post that on Twitter. At Mark May, whatever the hell his Twitter tag is. I don't even know what it is, if he even is on Twitter still.
Hey, to his credit, he did pick Ohio State to beat Oklahoma, but I think even Ray Charles saw that coming. So, yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Got the jokey jokes today. You got the jokes going today, my man. All right. Well, thanks.
My wife made me take a walk this morning, and so now I'm like up and I'm moving around. I got the blood pumping. I'm ready to go. So here we go. Yeah.
Taking a morning walk with the missus. All right. Yep. There you go. Getting moving. All right. Well, thanks to the wisdom of Steve Helwagen. Thanks to the listeners for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great day. Let's hear some Buckeye swag, best damn band in the land.